Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games. I'm Topher Ferguson, and I'm bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today, I am coming at you with a handful of games that I pulled off of my shelves. Games that I have played, probably games that Brad has not played, but games that we've not had a chance yet to do a full review on here on the channel, and possibly we won't be able to unless you really want us to kind of dive deep into the actual games. So this is a rapid review of 10 games from Toph's collection. The way I'm going to do this is give you just a little bit of a reasoning why I am going to rate the game as I do, and then I will give you my BGG rating. And the way that scale is going to work goes from 10 being amazing all the way down to 1, which is awful. The scale itself, real quick, 10 is outstanding. This is a game that I will always enjoy playing no matter what. 9 is excellent. I very much enjoy playing it, and you probably would too. 8, the game is very good. I enjoy playing it, and I will suggest it to others to be able to play. 7, the game is good. I'm usually going to be willing to play it. 6, it's okay. I'll play it if I'm in the mood. 5, it's mediocre. I'll take it or leave it. 4, it's not so good. 3, it's bad. 2, it's very bad. And 1, it's awful. Most of my games tend to be rated somewhere around the 7 if they're in my collection. Anything below 5 or so, I usually tend to call. And so these games here are a handful of those. Let's see. Let's get into it. Here we go. First game. Red Rising. This is a game that is produced by Stonemaier Games. It came out a few years ago, and I was excited for it because I had started reading the books. I did not finish the series, but I have read the first couple books in the series, and I thought, you know, this is a good game. Let's pick it up. Possibly it's going to be something that I will enjoy. Stonemaier tends to put out games that I do enjoy. I have played it. I've played it a few times, and it's an okay game. I will say I had not played Fantasy Realms when I played this, and everybody has said that this is Fantasy Realms with a little bit more added in. To be honest, the more I play this game, the more I think I prefer Fantasy Realms. So this is an okay game. I would say I'm going to rate it a 6.5. I'll play it if I'm in the mood. You know, I might play it more, especially if somebody else is recommending it, but it's not one that I tend to pull off the shelf as much as I was hoping that I would. So that is Red Rising, the first of my games that I'm rating today. Next up, we have Civilization: A New Dawn. Now, if you have been watching this channel, you know that I have actually rated this game, or Sid Meier's Civilization, in my last top 100 games of all times that we have done. This game here is not anywhere near as complex as Civilization. The Sid Meier Civilization game absolutely is a fantastic game, but I do not own it. It is not in my collection. I picked this game up as a little bit more accessible game, a game that's not going to take us so many hours to be able to play. And I'll be honest, for a Civilization game on the lighter side, it lives up. It is a good game. I do actually really enjoy this game. Now, I don't pull it off the shelf on a regular basis, but we did pull it out at game night recently, and we had a fantastic time playing it. Unfortunately, Brad was playing another game at the time and couldn't play with us. I think he will actually enjoy this. I don't know if Brad has actually yet played a Civilization game, so, you know, this might be his first introduction into it as we dive deeper into other Civilization games as well. For me, Sid Meier's Civilization: A New Dawn is a game that I easily rate a 7, almost a 7.5. It's a good game. I'm usually going to be willing to play it. If I could figure out how to solo this, this is probably something that I would want to play solo. But honestly, really, when it comes to Civilization games, you want to be playing with other people so that you can have conflict in the lands that you are developing and exploring. If you have not checked this out, I do encourage you to do so. There is an expansion for it, the Terra Incognita expansion. It does add to the base play, but by itself, if you do not yet play a lot of Civilization games and you want to get into something, this is one I would say consider checking out. So Civilization: A New Dawn, for me, 7.5 in my BGG rating. Up next is another game that you may have heard me discuss on the channel. This is Horrified. Horrified is a game that I don't think Brad likes at all. I greatly enjoy this game. I have played this a lot. I've got a handful of friends that absolutely love to pull this game out. I've geeked out into this. I love the horror theme. I love scary movies. I love the monsters that you have, especially the classic monsters. And to see them come to life in this game and be able to run around a town surviving, if anything, is great. I typically play this game on as hard as a level as I can. I found that when I play on the easy or medium levels, it's a little too easy for at least my gaming group to be able to play. But at the harder level, we don't always win. I'll be honest. It usually comes down to the very last play, and a lot of times we tend to lose, but that's okay. This game is a story-driven game. We come up with some fantastic stories as we are playing it as a group. I encourage you to pick this up. For a game that you can pick up at Target or other big box stores, it's great. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I have not played American Monsters yet, so let me know what you think about that. But I'll be honest, the more I play this, the more I want to rate it a higher rating, and I think American Monsters would probably fit with it. I used to rate this a 7. The more I've played it, the more I realize I need to up that. So for me, this game is an 8. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it enough that I have been painting the miniatures in it, both a copy my friend has as well as mine. So definitely, if you're into horror, if you like the classic monsters theme, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a gamer's game that you can pick up at Target. It's fantastic. So that's Horrified. Coming up next, Small Box. This is One Deck Dungeon. This is a good game. I will say it doesn't do quite what I wanted it to do. One Deck Dungeon was a game that I picked up because I had a handful of people recommend this to me after my solo video games. My top 10 solo videos did not include this game, and I picked it up. I have played quite a number of times, and I've enjoyed the games, but this is not the first game I pull off the shelf when I want to sit down and game at home. I do occasionally. It's there. And sometimes I don't want to sit down and always go through an entire game of Arkham Horror or the setup that it would take to do something like Terraforming Mars or Gloomhaven. This is a good little dungeon crawl, and it sets up extremely quickly. It's something I can throw in my backpack and I can take to work if I wanted to. It just doesn't quite deliver for me. Maybe I'm missing something. I know a lot of people rate this game very high, but for me, I gotta say it's a 6. It's an okay game. I'll play if I'm in the mood. I'll play if somebody else wants to play it as well, but for the most part, I'm probably gonna pick something else off the shelf to play before I pick this up. And if it's because of time, I'm probably gonna go with something like a Button Shy game or something that I can play several times instead of only once, still get in a good feel of gaming, but actually enjoy my time a little bit more. So One Deck Dungeon, not bad. I've not yet played it 2-player. I want to at some point just to see what it's like. I want to play all my games at all player counts. But for a solo game, I'm not going to call it. I'm going to keep it. But it's a solid 6 for me. Next up, we have Le Havre. Now, this is actually a game that Brad has played. This was a game that I have been looking for a very long time. I am a huge fan of Uwe Rosenberg's games. I have enjoyed everything that I have played. I had not played this one yet, and I will say that this has become my favorite game of his. I've played it a handful of times. I recently actually pulled it off the shelf, learned the rules, went to a friend's house. She and I sat and played it. I have since played it a few more times. I can't stop playing this game right now. I love the strategy that you have. I love the ability to be able to fight for resources to buy a card. You know, I'm not big on conflict games. I'm normally the Euro gamer. Let's work together, solitaire in our own little arenas. But there's something about fighting for a building card that's so exciting. I love so much about this. I like how it develops over the years, how your ships start as just this little wooden ship and you can work your way up to a luxury liner. I love how you have to upgrade some of your buildings in order to be able to continue using them. I love how some resources are extremely easy to get and others, the ones you really tend to need, especially at the end of the game, are incredibly difficult to get if you've not built the correct engine. I love so many things about this game. Le Havre has quickly risen to one of my favorite games. You will see it on my next top 100 games of all times, and I guarantee you it's going to be towards the bottom of that list, getting closer to 1 instead of closer to the 100 side. For me, this is an 8.5. Absolutely enjoy playing this game. I'm going to want to pull it out. I'm going to suggest it. I'm going to hope that soon my gaming group, and Brad, he's played it years ago, I hope that we get into a good game of this because I think it's right up the alley of the games that our group likes to play. It's an older game. If you can find it, absolutely well worth it. Pick it up. It's Le Havre. Another solo game that I've picked up recently is Aeon's End. I picked up War Eternal. I got this game used at one of our local bookstores, and it exceeded the expectations I had for it. Brad and I have played it. I don't think I enjoyed the play with another person as much as I do soloing this game. There's something about soloing it, even true soloing it with just one character, or having two characters that you're controlling. There's something about the solo puzzle of this game that I just find fascinating and intriguing, especially the way that you are discarding your cards and then you cannot shuffle your discard pile like a typical deck builder would. There's a lot goes into planning in this game. And in just the base box, whether you have regular Aeon's End or War Eternal, which is also a base game or an expansion, you have a handful of characters as well as a few enemies that you have to fight. It's plenty. You have a lot of combinations. I have not gotten bored with this yet. I have looked at expansions. I have not picked them up yet, but I see that coming in the horizon. This is a good game to be able to pick up. It plays relatively quickly. It does have a little bit more setup, so I'm looking into ways to be able to speed up the setup time for the game so that I can pull this out and maybe actually eventually call something like One Deck Dungeon, because for under an hour, this packs a lot of gameplay and will make an evening so much fun, even solo gaming for an entire evening. I'll play this 1-2 times and I'm set for the evening. So Aeon's End, I've heard people talk about it. I know a lot of people have said that they've enjoyed it. For me, this here is a 7.5. It is not only a good game, but it's a good game that I am going to be recommending that we're going to be playing, or at least I'm recommending myself to play because I want to play it solo. And I do pull it off my shelf quite a bit. It's at the very edge of my shelf so that it's easy access. I can pull it down and play it on a moment's notice while I'm at home in the evening trying to wind down. So Aeon's End, fantastic deck builder with a great mechanic inside of it. This next game is a game that I want to get Brad to play because I think he will absolutely enjoy it. I don't think he'll enjoy the theme. I'll be honest, I don't like the theme. It does nothing for me. But the engine building capabilities of this game, fantastic. And that is what Brad's going to enjoy. And that is Wingspan. I'm going to be leaving this here for a little while because I think Ara is going to like this a lot. And if Ara wants to play it, I'm hoping that Brad will as well. I think he will actually enjoy it as much as I do. Wingspan was something I held off on for a very long time. I finally got the chance to play it because one of the other guys in our gaming group owns it. He brought it to game night one night. We played 2 games back to back, and I said, yes, I'm buying it. It does such a great job of building an engine in a very short play time. It's a game that is accessible to newer gamers, but at the same time, I feel like as a heavyweight gamer, that when I want to play a lighter, medium weight game, this is something that I actually want to jump to. Now, birds, that theme does nothing for me. It's interesting. I like the fact that every single bird card is different. I like that there's facts on it. It might be fun to read if you enjoy birds. That does nothing for me. The artwork, it is what it is. It's the ability to build an engine in such a wonderful way that makes this game stand out. So Stonemaier, great job on this. Elizabeth Hargrave, I think, is the designer of it. Fantastic work with the game. Wingspan. I love it. I'm giving it, let's say, an 8. I don't know if I've rated this yet, officially on BGG yet, but this is a very good game, and it is one that I have suggested and I have brought to our gaming group. We've enjoyed playing it just like we had in the past. I think we're going to continue to play it. If you don't have it in your collection, consider adding Wingspan into your collection. Probably one of my grail games of all times. Now, I've owned this for quite a while, but this game here, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, absolutely a fiddly mess of a game. It's hard. You're probably going to lose. You're absolutely going to go insane at some point. You're going to be frustrated with the decisions that those around you are making, the other players that are playing the game. But there's something about sitting down for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours plus, and slogging through this game in order to have an evening of adventure. And that's honestly what it feels like. Of all the storytelling games that I have played, I have gotten more storytelling out of Arkham Horror than anything else. And my collection will say that. If you have been around this channel for a while, I've talked a lot about 2nd Edition Arkham Horror. I've talked about Elder Sign. I've talked about Arkham Horror, the living card game. I've talked about all these various Cthulhu-based games that I have played. Death May Die, Tower of Madness, not a great game, but still fun. All these Cthulhu-based games that I love, that I have in my collection. This started all of it. This game, the first time I played it, I thought that game is incredibly difficult. I was new to the hobby. I had played a handful of lighter weight games. I had not played anything that would be such a commitment time-wise as this, something with a rule book as big as this. I've learned how to navigate Fantasy Flight games since that first gameplay. I've learned how to play fiddly games and still find enjoyment in it. And I've learned how to tell a story with just the cards and the dice that you have on your table to give you an evening of terror and fright. Arkham Horror, absolutely always going to be in my collection. I'm not going to rate this a 10. I don't think it deserves a 10. It is a 9. It is absolutely a 9 for me. Somebody who doesn't enjoy long fiddly games is going to rate this a lot lower, and that's why they came out with Eldritch Horror and Arkham Horror 3rd Edition and Living Card Game and all the others to appease those that didn't want this fiddly mess of a game. But for me, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, easily an excellent game in my book. I'm giving it a 9. 2 more games here. We have, let's get this out of the way, Silver, the Silver series. I have Silver Bullet. I know there's Silver Amulet and Silver Dagger and other games within the Silver series. Bezier Games put this out, and I actually bit the bullet on this thanks to another channel that I've subscribed to and love. Foster the Meeple played this all the time. They talked about this all the time. And I thought, with the games that they like and how I enjoy playing games that are similar, I think this is one that I would definitely enjoy. I finally picked it up and it fell flat. This, I don't want to say it disappointed me, but this is one that I can easily see myself calling soon. I have a hard time getting rid of games, especially when that game is going to be in the upper half of my grading scale. For me, Silver Bullet is about a 5. It's a 5. Take it or leave it. I may play it. I probably am not going to play this again. The benefit to this game is simply that I can take all the cards out of this box, throw them in a small little deck box, and take it with me somewhere. So if I'm traveling, maybe I'll have a game that I could play. But to be honest, I'd rather take, I don't know, any of my button shy games with me. They'll take up a whole lot less space. They'll be just as challenging, probably. Maybe I haven't figured out how to play this game well. Maybe I haven't figured out, the nuances of the cards and how to use them. Maybe it's something else. But for me, it just did not work. And other friends of mine who have dove into the Silver line with other Silver games kind of felt the same. So, sorry, Foster the Meeple folks, but this is not one that I greatly enjoyed. It is what it is. I'll still play it if somebody's recommending it and they really want to play it and I can't convince them to play something else, but it's not for Brad. It's not for me. It is what it is. Last up on my list, number 10 is Machikoro. Machikoro I played for the first time many years ago. It was not this edition, it was another edition of the game. And my first thought of it was, I don't know if I played that game right. I don't know if I enjoyed it. At that point in time, I was heavily into Pandemic and the game that shall not be named, Catan, and all the other games that were what I would consider to be on the beginner-friendly games now, so the gateway games. And I didn't necessarily see this as a gateway game. I didn't also see it as a heavyweight game. It was just kind of out there. I played it, and it was what it was. And then the next time I played it, I realized there's an engine building capability to cards. And that's where I started finding the beauty of this game. Now, I played it a lot and eventually kind of cooled on the game. It stayed on the shelf, but I stopped pulling it out. I have friends that own the game. There's a handful of us that, I might pull my copy out. They may pull theirs out. We'll play it. It's fun. And then Brad introduced me to another game that is very similar to this. We played quite a bit of it, and I thought, Machikoro, I missed that game. I haven't played it for a while. And so I started pulling this game back out. And while I enjoy other games, probably more than this one, there is something about the engine building capability of the cards as you build your city in front of you. And as other players are taking their turns, rolling their dice, and rolling numbers that trigger the cards that you have in your arena, or maybe when you are rolling the dice and it triggers somebody else's cards and you now have to pay them money that you wanted to be able to buy new cards with, there's something about that tension in this game that's a lot of fun. It's on the lighter weight side. This is something I would easily play with children, especially, kids that are starting to get into gaming and they're starting to see the complexity of building an engine. This is a great one. I am never taking this off my shelf because while there's other games that work in the same category, this one is beginner friendly and still fun for somebody who is more of an advanced gamer. Machikoro for me gets a 6.5 to 7 on the scale. I would probably put it more at 6 at this moment because I have played it quite so much, 6.5 because I have played it quite so much, but it has been a solid 7 for me for many, many years. And so please do check out Machikoro if you have not played it before. I think you might enjoy it if you enjoy cute city building games that have a little bit of player interaction with others. You do something on every turn. You might collect income. You might have to pay out money, but you are always engaged on everybody's turn. And that's a good benefit in any game that you play. So that is the last of my 10 games that I randomly pulled off my shelves. We're going to have some more in this Rapid Review series coming up, so stay tuned for that. But for now, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want us to dive into more of a review of any of these games, do leave a comment down below and let me know what it is that you have questions about or what you want to see more information about. I did not dive deep into any of these. We're happy to do so. We'll be happy to get some of these played a little bit more. Maybe I can convince Brad to play some of these so he can jump in the review as well. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed, we'd love to have you sitting at the table for the long haul, so consider subscribing and ringing that bell if you want some notifications of when our videos are coming out next. Remember, guys, no matter what you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends, enjoy whatever games you are bringing to the table. Have a good night. Bye.